Hi there, and welcome to the Pip and Pin Podcast. My name is Megan Nodecker, and I'm a knitwear designer from Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. Today is December 2nd, and it just started snowing just now. It did dump a little bit on us a couple days ago, and it's cold enough that it's stuck around, which is kind of cool. It doesn't usually stick around too much here, and now it's just started snowing again. Yeah. And I have been preparing for the snow by knitting myself a hat. And I have two hats that I wear like as my hats, as my winter hats all the time. It's the ironwood hat, which is like a DK hat that I designed, and then the sprocket hat, which is a fingering weight hat that I also designed. And this year, I wanted to participate in the Indie Design Gift Along, and that is a gift along, like a really big gift along that happens from like mid-November to the end of December, and it's all about knitting gifts. Whether those gifts are for other people or yourself. I decided to knit myself a gift because I don't usually knit things for myself from other people's patterns that often. So I took this opportunity. I wanted a new hat, and so I made one, and it is this one. If you couldn't tell, it's the one I'm wearing. This is the Icebreaker by Sierra Morningstar, and I really enjoyed knitting this pattern. It is charted and has written instructions, so it does both. I usually read the charted because that's, I don't know, visual. And one thing I really appreciated about this pattern, and the one thing I try to put into my hat patterns and look for when I'm making hat patterns, is crown details. I don't know why they're so important to me, but I really love that. I don't really want to take it off because it's very warm and very cozy. But the crown, the pattern, this cable pattern with the little bubbles actually continues all the way through the crown decreases. And I just always really appreciate that. Makes for a very thoughtful pattern. I know sometimes like you just kind of have to end it and you can't really incorporate whatever you were doing into the crown, but I really appreciate it when designers do that, and she did it. And this is just a wonderful, wonderful pattern. I had some issues with my tension, only because I'm not used to doing cables and bobbles and things like that. So I was having some trouble keeping things right. My cables had kind of elongated stitches, and there were the stitches before my bobbles were really loose and things like that. So I tried a couple different techniques to kind of counter that, and some of them worked kind of, some of them not really so much. I feel like it's also the yarn that I was using and the needle size. I could have gone down a needle size, and I think I would have had a little bit better luck, but I didn't, because I didn't want the hat to be any tighter. So what I did is, after I was done this morning, I actually, I went through, before I steam blocked it. I haven't wet blocked this, and I don't think I will, but what I did was I just took the end of my, this is what I use for cabling, my cable needle, but you can just use a regular needle or whatever. And I kind of went through, and the elongated cable stitches, I kind of pulled and kind of teased my tension along that line of stitches to even it out a bit. And again, with the gap kind of before my bobble, I just kind of pulled it tight and then dispersed that extra yarn throughout the rest of the thing. And I think it really made a difference. It didn't really take that long to do. It seems like a really fiddly process for a hat, and and it was, but in reality, it was about 5 minutes before I blocked it, just to kind of smooth everything out, and it did make quite a difference. I'm really happy with it. I'm very happy with the fit of this hat. It is exactly what I wanted in a hat. I wanted a folded brim. I wanted it kind of not snug. Like I don't like tight toques. I wanted something a little bit loose, but not going to fall off my head. It has a tiny bit of slouch. Like, it's just exactly what I wanted to make myself. It was perfect. And part of that is the yarn that I chose. Now, originally I had this like mustard yellow from Fiddly Dye Works that I had bought with the intention of knitting myself a hat, and I just never did. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to use that yellow yarn to knit myself a hat here. But it was DK, and I didn't want to. So then I went through my stash and found this, which is also actually from Fiddly Dye Works. It's her worsted weight yarn, and it's in the color Goose, which is this beautiful, like, really warm charcoal gray. So it has a lot of brown tones in it, but it's still dark. It's just a brilliant neutral. It goes really good with my new favorite sweater that I got from Costco. And I think this is going to be it for winter for me. Beige sweater, brown hat. It's great. Can't say enough great things about the hat pattern, the yarn. Everything just worked, aside from my own shortcomings as a knitter, which I worked out afterwards. Great pattern, great yarn. This is going to be my like absolute number one go-to. Also, I think I need to blow dry my pom-pom again. I kind of like, you know how I keep my pom-poms in a Ziploc bag, basically, and I floofed it, like I shook it out. But if they get like compacted together, and you can blow dry them, and if you blow dry them, then they really like poof back up, especially if you kind of spray them with water first and then blow dry them. They get really fluffy. So I need to do that again to this guy to make him a little happier. Other than that, I have a hat. It's snowing. This is great. And like I said, I am participating in the Indie Design Gift Along. I'm actually a participating designer for the Indie Design Gift Along. It's a whole big thing, and I don't really want to take the time to explain it right this second because I have a lot to talk about today. So I'm just going to put the link down below if it's something you think that you're interested in. It is going until the end of the year. There's tons of great prizes. There's like over 200 participating designers. It's great. So before I get into more of my knitting stuff, because I have a lot of knitting stuff to talk about, I finally have my knitting mojo back, and I haven't podcasted in a couple weeks, so I have a lot to share. But before I do all that, I also have some new things that I've been working on that are coming up very quickly. So on December 8th, from 10 a.m. to 11 Pacific Standard Time, because that's what I'm in, I am holding a designer group mentoring session. And so this is going to be online on Zoom, and it's for designers. If you are a knitwear designer, if you want to become a knitwear designer, if you're new, if you're old, if you just want to hang out, this is for you. It's mostly going to be a Q&A. So if you have questions about anything that you want to ask me about or talk to me about or have me expand upon, bring that with you. If it's something about a specific design you're working on, or just some aspect of design that you're a little confused on, or maybe you want me to talk about, I don't know, whatever you want to talk about, I will be there to talk about it. I also have a fun little group activity, not a group activity, it's a solo activity, but we'll be doing it as a group and then talking about it if you want to. We have a little group activity to start off the meeting, and then we'll go into some Q&A. And I've held these at the end of my design workshop. I always do kind of a Q&A Zoom meeting, and it's always my most favorite part. I'm always so inspired by everyone kind of afterwards. The last one that we did, there was some show and tell going on at the end, and it was really, it was really fun. So that's kind of the vibe that I want to go with. Just whatever, do little activity, whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about, and then maybe some show and tell if we have time. Like, just kind of keep it casual and fun, and just a place for designers to get together and chat. And if you would like to sign up for that, you can, I'll put a link to it down below. You can just sign up on my website, and then I'll be sending the Zoom link out probably on Wednesday, probably the day before. I'll contact everybody with the Zoom link. There'll also be replays afterwards. So yeah, that is happening on the 8th. And then December 12th and 15th, so the week after that, in a couple weeks here, I'm doing a workshop for the Aurora headband, which is being modeled by my lovely model Bobby. It's this guy here. This is also what I wear. I wear this pretty much every morning for school drop-off because I can have my hair in a bun and put a headband on and look like I tried a little bit. It looks really cute with a bun. So this is the Aurora headband. It is another pattern of mine, and I'm going to be doing a 2-day workshop, and we're going to knit this together, and it's going to be great. So if you haven't seen this pattern or heard about it, it comes in 2 sizes, so child size and adult size, and you can use basically whatever kind of yarn you have on hand. So fingering, I think it's written for fingering, sport, DK, fingering, sport, DK, worsted, and Aran. I'm sure you could also alter it for chunky if you wanted to. You can combine yarns. I'll show you. I'm going to be making one this next week just to make sure I have all my stuff ready to go for the workshop. I'm making it for Georgia, if that's going to tell you anything. She's my 8-year-old. So there's going to be lots of things involved, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Anyways, what we'll be going over with this guy is I'll be demoing the provisional cast on. We'll be knitting a little bit. I'll do a demo of kind of how to do this twist thing. And then you'll have a couple days to do that. And then the next class, I will be going over how to attach the front to the back and make it seamless. So I'll go over some techniques of how to really make it look flawless. Like, I can barely tell where I think this is where my seam is here. But as you can see, it's very, very seamless. So we'll be doing provisional casts on, we'll be doing Kitchener stitches, we'll be doing, and then I'll just share some tips and tricks for hiding any imperfections to make it absolutely perfect. So if you want an Aurora headband for yourself, or if you want to make one for somebody else, if you're looking for some gifts, you can sign up for that workshop as well. Again, I'll put it down below. And then I have one more, did I say this? This is also online on Zoom. And it includes the Aurora pattern. If you already have the pattern, that's okay too. You can just use the code Aurora, and the cost of the pattern will be taken off of the workshop cost. So I'll put that information on the listing. But yeah, if you already have the pattern, you can just use the code Aurora to get the cost of the pattern taken off. And then after the classes, replays of the videos will be sent out as well. So if you have to miss one, or if you want to go back to it, you can always rewatch it again later. And then third, starting on January 5th, I actually have a much larger workshop for the Cat Bells cardigan. And I think I was wearing the Cat Bells on the last episode of the podcast. It is the cardigan, it is the sweater that I wear the most, so much so that mine's falling apart. So I'm actually going to be knitting this with you. We're going to be going over yarn selections and size selections. We're going to learn how to do a swatch properly for it, and kind of some of the things we can kind of fudge with the pattern, so it doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to learn about doing sleeves 2 at a time, sewing on pockets, things like that. So I'm actually going to knit the sweater with you as well. And we're just going to go from beginning to end. It's 5 sessions long, I think over 6 weeks. I might extend it 1 week. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how it goes. And that is going to be starting on January 5th. So I'll probably have the listing live for that one until maybe a couple days before. Yeah, so if any of those seem interesting to you, if you've ever wanted to take an online workshop with me, if you're a designer, if you're a knitter, if you want to make a sweater, the cat bells cardigan would be perfect for a sweater if you've never done something like that before. Yeah, those are all coming up very soon. So I'll put links to all those down below. Again, if you already have the cat bells cardigan pattern, you can use the code catbells and get the cost of the pattern taken off. Okay, so enough about that. Sorry if none of that interested you and I just yammered at you for a long time. Now we're going to get into some knitting because I have lots of knitting stuff to share with you and lots of finished things. So the first finished thing I already talked about was this beautiful, beautiful hat. The second thing that I finished is I finished George's sweater. So this is the Mini Montrealer. This is a pattern by Designs by Dells. And I used Lily and Pine worsted in a fade. So I used 6 skeins of the worsted yarn for this, and I faded all the way up. I don't know all the colorway names, and I don't have the ball bands or anything, so sorry about that. Georgia loves it. She's been wearing it. I did block it, but it's already it's been worn for about 2 weeks straight already. It has pockets, which I look back on, and I'm pretty sure I did wrong. And I'm pretty sure I did them wrong on her last Mini Montrealer, and I know that I did them wrong on her last Mini Montrealer, but I didn't look at my pattern notes, so I didn't remember. That's okay. She loves it. It's still cute. I don't think the pockets are even on either side. I think oh yeah, this opening is bigger than the other one. So we might put in a button or something or just tack it down a little more because it's a little bit open for her. She loves the hood. She loves the drawstring. The hood I thought was giant. It looks huge, but she loves it like that. So, she hung it on a hook. You can see the little knobby bit at the top there. She had it hanging on her hook. Anyways, the only thing I think I have to fix with it is pretty minor, and that's just due to, this is superwash yarn. It's very stretchy, very slippery, and it's also about 3 sizes too big for her, which is great because I wanted it to be big and she wanted it to be big. So it's the perfect size. It's exactly what we both wanted it to be, but her shoulders are not this wide. They're quite narrow, and the hood, how can I show this? There we go. So the hood, you actually cast on with a provisional cast on, and then work down, and then come back and do the hood up, which is great. It's very seamless. It looks very lovely, but it doesn't give a lot of structure around the neckline. So because the neckline is so big, it actually slides over her shoulders when it gets wet, because it stretches, so it's quite wide here, so it kind of goes over her shoulders, which she doesn't care about, but I do. So all I'm gonna do is this is exactly how much yarn I have left over from all of the colors. I have some extra yarn. I'm actually just gonna go in on the inside with a crochet hook and just crochet chain a line of stitches all the way around the neck opening. And what that's going to do is it's just going to pull in a little bit and make it stronger. So it's not going to, like, it's not going to make it pull it in or anything like that. It's just going to make it stiff so that it doesn't stretch out over her shoulders. I think I'll do a little video of that when I get around to doing it. I actually ordered a little stand for my phone so I can do some top-down videos. So I'll probably, once that comes, I'll make a video of what I mean exactly. But really all I'm going to be doing is crocheting a chain of stitches all the way around, just so that it doesn't stretch, so that it stays. And then it will be perfect. I mean, she thinks it's perfect now, but there's just some things that I have to fix. The other thing that I finished another big project, was Justin's sweater. I told you it's been a few weeks and I'm back to the knitting, so it's finishing the things. And this is the sweater that I made for Justin. It just was blocked. He hasn't even tried it on yet, so I might have to fix something. I don't know yet. There was an issue with a part of it like being too loose or something, but we decided to block it first and then try it on and see how it goes. So it has been blocked, but he's been working late, so he didn't want to try it on yesterday, which I understand, but it's done. This is a pattern that I improvised. It's just a Henley. It has some contrasting cuffs, contrasting hem, contrasting neckline, and then some vintage seashell buttons. Where are the buttons? Here are the buttons. Sorry. There we go. There's the buttons. Yep, these are just some vintage shell buttons, and they're actually like they're supposed to be on the other side, but he liked the back side of them, and I kind of do too. You can see a little bit of the shiny shell bit shining through there. So I really like it, and I just hope it fits. It's very like lofty. It reminds me a lot of Brooklyn tweed, which if you've been watching this, you may have realized that I've knit Justin a sweater almost exactly like this 2 years ago, you think? It's an orange sweater, burnt orange sweater with cream details. It's a Henley. He loves it. He wears it. The only thing about that sweater is I knit it with 2 strands of fingering yarn held together, and it has a lot of alpaca in it, which is great when he needs a warm sweater. When he needs something really, really warm, he goes for that sweater. But we don't live in a super cold climate. We just don't. It doesn't ever really get cold enough for him to want to wear that sweater, so he doesn't often wear it. But he loves it, so we found a different yarn. This is Katja Scotch Tweed. It's a very lofty woolen spun worsted weight yarn. Has all these green tweedy bits. He just got a kind of this like green wool coat that will go wonderfully over top of this because it picks up those little bits of green in there. And the white is lion brown woolies. Not woolies, woolies. And is actually what I'm going to be knitting my cat bells out of. They have this like caramelly, like brown, really warm brown color that I had my eye on last time I was at Michael's. So I think that's what I'm going to knit my cat bells cardigan out of in January. Oh, it's really starting to snow now again. It's exciting. Anyways, so hopefully this sweater fits and it will be more, just more wearable for our climate. It'll be still warm and cozy and like warm enough, but not alpaca hot, because alpaca is very warm, especially it's like 2 strands of heavy fingering held together, so it's almost like a worsted weight sweater, and it's added kind of dense gauge. So it really, yeah, it's just a warm guy and not what we need here. Anyways, so I really only have one work in progress to show you. Those were the 3 things that I finished. And I really only have one thing that's on the needles because I was working on this. And that is my Christmas socks. We decorated for Christmas a couple days ago. I wasn't feeling very festive in November. Like, usually I'm chomping at the bit to like get Christmas stuff up, and Justin kind of has to say like, no, November 2nd is not the time to be putting up your Christmas tree. But I just was not in the mood. I haven't done really any Christmas shopping. I haven't done anything really. And yeah. And then we had a snow day. Georgia had it. Actually, everybody had a snow day on yesterday or 2 days ago on the 30th because of the snow. Because when it snows here, like pretty much everything just shuts down. Because, okay. I know people on the East Coast are going to be like, I ever hear this all the time. I'm on the West Coast. And when it snows on the West Coast, we're not prepared for it, for one. Lots of people are not prepared for it, and the cities aren't prepared for it. So we don't have all the plows and salt and things because we don't need it half the time. Usually when it snows, it sticks around for a day or two and then it's gone. So they just don't really have it in the budget to have a lot of snow removal stuff going on. People don't have like dedicated winter tires. Lots of people just have really good all seasons. So drivers are a really big issue. Just people not having the right vehicles or experience. I don't drive in the snow. Justin shuttles me around when there is snow on the roads because I've never learned how to do it. He grew up in Hope, which is a little bit east of here and does get quite a bit more snow than we do because it's more in the mountains. So I just never learned really how to do it. So I just don't. Like if it snows, I just don't go out. It's very simple. But even like city buses and things, like our roads aren't great, vehicles aren't great, drivers aren't great. But the main thing, and I think this is like, people make fun of us all the time for those 3 things, which I get. But the snow here is also different than snow, say, in Alberta or Ontario or on the East Coast. Because it doesn't it's like ice. Like it just, I don't know, it's slushy, it's weird. It's just not the same kind of snow. It's heavy. So that combined with everything else means when it snows here, like we got about this much snow on the 30th and everything just shuts down. Essentially. Georgia didn't have school. Anyways, the point of that was to say Georgia didn't have school. Justin didn't have work. I took the day off because I can't work when everyone else is home. And why would I? Everyone else gets a snow day. I want a snow day too. So we set up the Christmas tree and then we went out at night to the park and played in the snow for a little while and it was fun. That's what I was trying to say with that. Anyways, my work in progress, my Christmas socks. I usually knit a pair of Christmas socks every year. Last year I got this skein of yarn and it's a self-striping. It's supposed to do that. And I originally did try to start a pair of just fingering weight socks in this yarn because it's a pretty, it's a pretty pattern that it makes. I just wasn't really loving how this yarn was knitting up by itself. So I actually got this yarn out, which is another Christmas colorway that I got, I think, the year before from Polka Dot Creek. And this is their vintage Christmas color, which is like this pinky toned with red and green and black. And so I just am knitting them together in some DK weight socks. Because I found last year I didn't wear any DK socks. And this year, that's really all I want to be wearing. So I'm just doing a straight 2x2 rib, heel flap and gusset. And yeah, I think I'm using size 2 needles, but I probably should have been using a size 3. And I don't know if it's the yarn, like maybe it's just the yarn isn't very stretchy, because this stuff, that's the reason why I wasn't liking it just as fingering yarn. There's no stretch in this yarn at all. There's also sparkle in it, stellina, so that makes it also not very stretchy. So that's probably why it doesn't feel the same as my other socks. So I'm just going to continue on knitting them. I'm going to block them, and they are going to be great. And if it's not, I think probably what I'm going to do for the, what is this, like the 4th time in a row? What I'm going to do, I'm going to finish this sock. I'm going to block this sock on a sock blocker and then put it on my foot and see how I feel. And if it's really off, if it's really wrong, I will go up to a size 3 and I will knit another sock in a size 3 and then a 3rd sock in a size 3. I've had to knit multiple pairs of socks like this in the past little while because everything was ending up too tight, and if my socks are too tight, then I don't wear them. So I need to just remember that. So this might be the first of 3 socks. Hopefully it's just the first of 2 socks, but I'm going to block it before I start my other one to make sure. The other thing, let's talk about George's headband. So as I was saying before, I'm doing the Aurora headband class, and I wanted to, since this is my first time doing the class for this, is I wanted to knit a headband and kind of go through my course materials just to make sure that I know what I need for the beginning of each class, kind of. So I was going to knit a prototype headband for the class, and I was talking to Georgia about it, and she asked if she could have a headband, and I said, absolutely, I will knit you a headband while doing this and figuring all this stuff out. And then I'm going to knit myself a headband when I'm actually doing the class. So for hers, we went through my yarn, and I told her, you can combine yarns together to like create different things, especially with this pattern, because it's written for so many different yarn weights. You can really do whatever you want. So she went a little wild with her yarn selections. And this is going to be quite the beast to manage. At least it's small. At least it's a small project. Yeah. So what she has chosen is, we went through some of my minis. We just went through everything, and she just picked out the colors that she wanted. And we kind of did it together. So she started with this. Actually, no, she started with this. This was her favorite. This was actually a yarn that she picked out one year at Knit City. I think it's from Yarn Inc. from a couple years ago. It has bright pink and purple and some blues. So I'm gonna hold it double with this purple, which is from Sweet Fiber, which I think I got in my Advent 2 years ago or something. And then also with this, also from Sweet Fiber, from my Advent from a couple years ago, which is great because these are not my colors. And she always does this, and I love it. All the like colors that are just kind of in my stash that I probably won't use for myself, she picks up and wants a sweater or wants a thing out of. So it's great. These are the colors that she chose to go together. Then she found some mohair. And I told her, yeah, if you add mohair to things, it will make them fuzzy. She likes fuzzy things. So we have this bit of mohair here. I'm pretty sure this is Knit Picks Aloft. Is that what it's called? I know this colorway is discontinued, but it is Knit Picks. I know that. So that is going to be held with that. Then I reminded her that, we could add mohair or we could add sparkles, because when we were at Knit City, we thought that there was going to be more of this yarn left, and I was going to knit her a hat to match her sweater, and I was going to hold it with some sparkle that we got from the Crafty Jackalope, which is this stuff here. Very, very sparkly stuff. And so she said, well, can't I have all of it? So I said, I guess you can. Sure. So I'm going to be holding 5 strands of yarn together for her headband, for my practice headband. It's going to be really fun when it's done. I'm sure it will be fun while I'm knitting it. It's just going to be a lot. But I'm going to make her the child size. Like, she's kind of right on the cusp. I could make her an adult size probably, but I'm going to make her a child size one. Really, the only difference between the child size and the adult is the width. The child size is just a little bit skinnier is all. And smaller circumference as well. So I'm going to make her the child size using all 5 of those yarns. It's going to be great fun time. Yeah. The last thing that I haven't really been working on, but I've been thinking about and wanting to do, is I've been swatching for a sweater. And this is yarn that I got from Knit City. And I don't remember the name offhand. I will put it down below. It's this beautiful pinky color. And I wanted to design a sweater out of it. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do yet. But I know I wanted to base it kind of off of a sweater that Georgia has. It's a sweater she picked out herself from the Gap, 3 sizes too big. It was super cute. Just a ribbed kind of sweater, but really oversized. And it just looked so comfy. Very similar to this sweater, actually. I found this maybe a week or 2 ago at Costco, and I was like, I want a big comfy sweater like Georgia's sweater. And so I got one, and now I want to design one as well. So I've been swatching a little bit, and these are kind of what I came up with for this yarn. It's a very, very drapey fabric. This is fingering weight yarn with cashmere in it. It's an MCN, and it's just so soft and lovely. And I'm using size 5 needles. So it's very drapey. And I just did some little cabling things, and then I tried one with a couple more definition on the sides there of the cables, but I think I like this one the best. Just kind of stockinette cables. Yeah, and I think I don't know exactly what's going to happen with it yet, but it is going to be a big, comfy sweater. Like, oh, it's just going to be so soft and lovely. I want that sweater now. Matches my hat. Maybe a V-neck. Maybe not. Georgia's sweaters, like a crew neck with a really long, like almost like a faux turtleneck, but it doesn't go up. It's just a really long collar. I'm not unsure of the neckline. What's your favorite neckline? I really like V-necks, but I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. I like looser in general, because I tend to get hot, and if I am going out in the cold, I can always put a scarf on. So probably not anything too up in the neck for me. But like, do you like a V-neck? Do you like a big crew neck? Do you like a boat neck? I don't think I'll do a boat neck. Let's see. No, I don't think I'll do a boat neck. Could do a raglan. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But give me some suggestions. It's going to be big, oversized. What do you like up here? Oh, I'm so excited for this. Now, also what I was thinking, when I was at Knit City, I got enough of this for a sweater. I'm pretty sure I'll have enough for a big sweater, especially at this gauge. We'll see. I know the yarn company is from Quebec, so I'm sure if I run out, I can contact them and hopefully work something out. But I also got a couple other colors, and what I'm going to do is instead of jumping into the sweater right now, I'm actually going to make a hat first. And I've kind of already started to work on the pattern, so I'm going to use this red to make the matching hat to go with this to test out my fabric and to get a really good swatch, because hats make great swatches, especially if you're doing something in the round, because I find even for myself, even if I'm swatching in the round with that trick, where you bring it to the back, it still isn't, it's not going to match. I'm always paying way too much attention to my tension when I'm knitting a swatch, so it ends up tighter than my sweater, and my sweater ends up looser. So I'm just going to make a hat out of this. And hopefully I'll make the pattern for this as well. Maybe it's something that would be in time for Valentine's Day, because it's red and lovely, and then it'll have a matching pink sweater eventually in 100 years. Anyways, that is all. That's kind of what I've been working on. I'm sure in the next little while I'll have more things. Usually around this time of year I'm casting on like little things. I know I'm at least going to make George's little headband. I'm going to start that hat. I just made this hat. I'm going to probably make another headband during the workshop, because why not? Maybe I'll use the Fiddly Dye Works, the mustard yellow that I was originally thinking for this hat. We'll see. I already have, I have this one, which I wear all the time. So I have a red one, I have a light blue one that I wear all the time, and then I have a dark purple one, but I think I lost that one. I don't know where that one is. It was fingering weight, which I like the fingering weight ones, but I think the DK one is my favorite weight. So maybe I'll make another DK one in yellow. Yeah, other than that, check out, we redid our website a little bit, so we have a section for workshops and classes, if you want to check that out and see if anything interests you in there. The gift along is happening till the end of the year, so I'll put the information for that down below. Sorry, I think I have mohair in my nose. What else is happening? Oh, there's also the sprocket knit along. So if you're working on a pair of sprocket socks or a hat or a sweater, you also have until the end of the year to get those in, and we have some good prizes to go out for that. Other than that, maybe we'll get another snow day. Hopefully the weather is doing whatever you want it to be doing where you are. getting into the festive spirit a little bit. And yeah, I will see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good one. Bye.